This is a Hope 1032 podcast.
Hello, welcome to Undistracted. I'm your host, Laura Bennett, and this is the podcast where we learn from our guests how to be better at building our lives with intention around our passions, our purpose, and dealing with some of the stuff that can get in the way of it. You can see many of these interviews in video on the Hope 1032 YouTube page, so make sure you subscribe there as well. Today, we are talking to a member of one of my favourite bands, maybe yours as well, Need to Breathe. The Grammy-nominated American rock and rollers from South Carolina have generated over 1 billion streams in their multi-decade career. They've sold out arenas and amphitheatres all over the world, including Australia at one point. We need to see them come back. And now their ninth studio album, Caves, has just been released. And the guy I consider to be the mystery man of Need to Breathe as their newest member, Tyler Burkum, he spoke to me about the evolution of the band's identity, creating healthy creative cultures, and how to allow people to be themselves. Let's welcome Tyler to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It has been about 4 years that you've been part of Need to Breathe. Catch people up on your sort of connection and introduction into the band. How do you know the guys?
I used to play with an artist named Matt Carney, an artist I played for a long time, and we did Need to Breathe had done tours that were almost like their own festival, like a touring festival. It was Tour de Compadres, and one of the year, basically they'd bring out a bunch of their friends and bands, and it was just an awesome night of everybody could have got on stage together, and it's a fun thing. And I was playing with Matt, and we were opening up. We were one of the bands playing on that tour, and I didn't really know. Wasn't very familiar with them, and I got to connect a little bit. I played a few shows with them because one of their auxiliary guitar player had a baby on the road, and last minute, me not even knowing them really, they're like, hey, can you fill in for the next, 4 or 5 shows? Cause, our guitar player's having a baby. And I was like, yeah, I need to learn the songs. And, the manager sent me like a Dropbox folder with like 30 songs. And he said, and this is at like 1 a.m. right? And he said, here you go, sound checks at 10 a.m. And I was like, what? I was like, okay. So I got to know them just a little bit from that. And then I played on our lead singer, Bear Reinhardt, his first solo record. I played on that, and we had a really good time together. And when we went to when Need to Breathe went to record the Out of Body record, they called me up to just be an additional, just an additional friend playing on that record. Mm. And I played on the record, and we just like really had an incredible chemistry, and it kind of felt like we were all like, 13-year-olds having a sleepover. It was just so fun. And the season of where, how it lined up with my life and their life, it was like, hey, this is a really good time for us to become friends. Mm. Yeah. And they just said, do you want to stay? I was like, I do. I love you guys. This is so fun. And, I every night I'd go home after we recorded, and we'd be, go to our Airbnb and we'd just be laughing. And I was just like, man, every day I get to make music, that I love and with people that I love. Yeah. I mean, that's how I got in the band, but it's just been absolutely just so fun. Musically and just friendship wise, it's been absolutely, I felt like I had known them for so long once we became friends. So
yeah, and that kind of musical affinity, chemistry, connection, however you want to describe it, that you find with people, what do you think it takes to really have that? Because I am sure on the flip side, there are some artists that try to work together, session players that come in and you go, nah, this isn't it, this doesn't work. How do you build that or understand that kind of connection?
I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, sometimes it just absolutely doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, you can totally be friends or whatever, but it's just not a good fit. And I think, maybe 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been good fit for where I am, where I was personally musically, where they were, but it lined up. And I think, I think just, it's just like being friends, like being friends with somebody. I think when you find a connection where you can speak the same language and also bring your thing in, I was welcomed in to be myself. When I played on that first record with them, I said, should I like go get all the old records and listen to them? Like, should I be, do you want me to go do that? So I kind of like walk in like, this is a Need to Breathe sound or whatever. And Bear was like, no, he's like, we'll tell you who we are. And we want you to come in, and there's going to be ideas that you would have never, if you listen to those old records, you might, censor yourself and not bring that idea. And it's like, that's the whole point, was to have somebody that didn't know, so we can, and things, things that they do that they kind of think maybe are old hat, that they're kind of like, I don't know if that's cool, and I'm like, well, I have never heard that song and I love it. And they'll be like, really? We've just played it live so many times. I'm like, well, me not having played it, like, I get why people still want to hear it live.
Yeah.
I think we're just able to give each other more perspective. And that's just that's a talented thing, or not talented. It's a beautiful thing when you can kind of have that opportunity to maybe see things a little bit more in reality. You can kind of have, because we didn't have this long history. I could be like, I love that. And they know that it could only be true because like, I'm just so new to it. And so it's good. Yeah. It's good for me, and things that, we can call each other's strengths out, that, maybe it's just, I don't know. It's just a really cool thing, and it worked.
Yeah, it's invigorating.
Yeah, when I think we're all really trying to help each other be more like ourselves, and so it's really nice to be in that kind of environment where it's like, hey, you matter, and I want to know what you're like. Bring yourself to this, and that's kind of a rare thing when you get asked to, like, almost told to be yourself.
Yeah.
Being like, and if you're not yourself, you can't bring as much to this. And if we're all ourselves doing this, it's gonna make the music so much deeper, because it's gonna have, so much more perspectives coming into it. And if we could not be so precious with things and drop the ego, and nobody cares who came up with what part on the record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that part, or I don't like that song. Nobody's like, you don't like me? It's like, no, it's like, I just think, it's, you have so much to bring if you bring, your own voice.
Yeah.
And if we could all have that all the time, I mean, the world would be such a great place if everybody was just getting, hey, bring yourself to this thing so we can really make this deeper. But when we're recording, it's like some of the coolest parts that I love on a record might be parts that I didn't come up with.
And it's good to appreciate that.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if everybody's trying to take credit for things. It's no way to live. That's gross.
No, and it sounds like the band, I think fans recognize this watching you guys on stage, but also for those that have followed Need to Breathe for so many years, there's clearly a very well-defined band culture, and it's when stuff within that goes a little bit awry or people get a little bit sidetracked, that's when stuff goes wrong. So it's kind of like Need to Breathe do seem to have this articulated culture that says we want you to be who you are, we want your voice to be contributed, and we also want to become the best artists, the best creators that we can be in what we're doing.
Yeah. And it wasn't always that way. Part of it is, age and experience, and just being like, man, we don't want to take this for granted. And I think, like, even aside from music, I think just as friends, we really do hope that we can maybe help each other be closer to the best version of ourselves. And I don't think I think that's a relatively new thing, at least in all of our lives, where, like, you're getting older and you're like, hey, I am so thankful. I am so thankful to get to do this.
And in the new work that you're doing at the moment, your brand new album Caves, of course, comes out in just a couple of days. That was a project that Bear has said, your lead singer Bear, he said, this is almost like a new era for the band. We feel like we're kind of starting again in some ways. How would you describe the new era that the band are in now?
It's a chance for a new beginning for this. I mean, it's just going to be different because there's new people. It's going to be different because every day you get a new perspective. Like, none of us are the same people that we were. It's a different world. It's a different, it's going to change, even if you're not even trying to change. It's going to change and evolve in some kind of way. But it does certainly feel like, with this record and the way we collaborated on this, I came in to the record collaborating in a different way, but it really felt like we kind of planted our feet. And we're like, hey, let's like say, like, well, like, what are we trying to do? We're not trying to chase anything we did before. And one, that can be a scary thing, but on another level, it's a very, it's an exhilarating thing to think like, hey, this can be a new start. This could be and looking at it in a fresh way, and just kind of, this is what the band is now. It like love. I mean, maybe somebody's like, I don't like it anymore. Maybe somebody's like, maybe they love it more. But I do think this record felt like, obviously we're the same. It's the same band, but it really feel like this is it is definitely a new season for the band. And I think keeping it on the tracks, like, we're trying to keep focus on, like, the important stuff, and like, when we go on tour, even though we are extremely tired when we get back, I'm not like depleted. No, I'm just worn out, but I do come back extremely, like, fulfilled and happy for so many reasons. And I think, we've been doing it for so long, just the idea of even being like something is new or is as a fresh start is a really fun thing.
And it's very rare to have that newness. But no wonder you're exhausted, because you're a fantastic guitarist. You basically you shred and you give it all on stage. It is exhilarating and yet exhausting watching you, I think, because you're like, how is he doing that? How does he have the ability to just keep going?
Man, well, that's very kind of you to say. We're still hungry. None of us are. If we didn't want to do this, we would not be doing it. We would not be going out in front of people and playing songs and being like, oh, we don't really want to do this. At the day that we're like, I mean, we're not going to go. You could say a lot of things about our band, but not caring is not something that you could ever say, because we care so deeply about the fans that come to our shows. Like, it's a big deal when people spend their money and their time. And I don't ever want to, take that for granted. Otherwise, put me out to pasture. If I do this job and I'm just not taking it seriously or complacent, or I think a lot of us at this season, I think where we're at right now is if we did a show, like if the next day after Moon River, if it would have been like the band's not a band anymore, right? Or let's just say the playing music just went away forever. That would be really a bummer. It'd be a real bummer. But we could go, well, we didn't take it for granted. No, we all have at certain times in our lives taken it for granted. But thankfully we had the opportunity to kind of wake up and be like, okay, like this is really incredible. And I'm more excited about playing music than I was when I was 13 playing with my friends in our garage. I was so excited about it. And there was a part of playing music for so long that you start to maybe kind of just, get kind of just a little lost and kind of forget. I don't think everybody does, but for me, there was definitely a time in my life where I kind of woke up and was like, oh my gosh, I'm taking this for granted. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And other things outside of music, there's a lot of people that happens and they kind of just they kind of fall out of it, and then it hits them later that, they didn't have that opportunity to like realize it real time and adjust. And so it would be really sad to have, anytime you lose something you love, but it would be so much harder if you knew that you took it for granted,
What do you think prompted the wake up?
I don't know. I mean, it's different I know it's different for each individual person. Sometimes I think we're like, if you're excited about things and you dream that's only like what young people do, that you get older and you're going to be a lot more, we've said that, you're delusional to get into this business, music. If you were 18 and you were starting a band and you actually found out how insane it would be to ever try to do it, you might not ever do it. And you're kind of like so excited and dumb that you just go for it. I don't think that's something that you have to lose if you don't want to. I think a lot of us are kind of, we're still hungry and excited to play. And a lot of time, I mean, I just think that is kind of a rare thing to find a bunch of people that are just dreaming. And so like I found my people, I'm a dreamer, and I found other people that dream. We found each other, and somehow even, we know the odds and we know how hard it's going to take, but we can kind of just be like, yeah, but still, let's just go for it. Like maybe it'll, I guess it's maybe not looking down, it's like, hey, let's just go for it. And let's not, it's like if you're like, Dad, I want to be a football player. And it's like, I don't know. It's really hard to go pro. And the kid's like, okay, Dad, like, let's not like, shush ourselves. Let's just dream and go for it. And that sounds so cheesy to say that. It sounds like somebody would be, if they heard me saying that, they'd be like, this guy needs a wake up call, man. But I mean, and see, that's the problem. Like, that's like, we don't have to lose that. And it's a rare thing. And I think we just found each other. Like I found these guys exactly lined up with the season of my life of being, I work hard every day to take it even, to be thankful and in the moment.
Yeah, so it's a perspective choice. And I think too, you sort of touch on something that I think a lot of people need to at least address at some point in their life, which is that I think it is almost a tension between being grateful for what you have, the music you've been able to make, the fact you've got the platform, all the talents, etc. that you've got, but then also that desire to dream and grow. Like sometimes being grateful and appreciating what we have can almost stop us from going to the next thing, because it's like, just be happy with what you've got, right? Like you don't want to push yourself too much beyond that. But how do you inspire, or I guess encourage growth alongside gratefulness? Have you thought much about that?
You can, sometimes there's people that aren't, it's like nothing is good enough, Like, I think if we were like, man, this is as good as it could get, but we tried. I mean, but I think, there's not wanting to be complacent.
Mm.
And I think we're super hungry while being thankful. I mean, in some ways we're satisfied, right? But not in the way that makes you just go, well, I guess we just won't try anymore. I mean, that's just so not romantic.
Yeah.
Like in my marriage, like imagine if I was just like, I don't know, this is pretty great. I'm kind of good right here. I think I'll just, I think I'll just sail off into the sunset.
Yeah.
I mean, even though we're so thankful, beyond grateful for getting to do music at all, certainly for getting to do music this long and having, I mean, you hear bands always being like, oh, we love our fans. And, but it, I have never played with, I've only played with like maybe a few people, a few artists where their fans were as on board and so loving and receiving. And I think that has been something that has sustained us, and maybe through dark times where you're like, man, I can't even believe that, our audience stuck with us, but we just take that so seriously. But it is a really incredible thing that's very life-giving. But you can be very thankful for what you have and still want more without it being out of,
like poor motivations.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, well, this isn't good. I want more. I mean, we realize how amazing it is and unique and rare to, and every day we're a band longer, it's even more rare. And so we're kind of like, man, like, we don't know how long we're going to get to do this.
Yeah.
We don't say that we deserve this. We say we get to do this.
Yeah.
Like, for on stage, we're like, can you believe that we get to do this? Like, which is just, being present in the moment. Yeah.
It's wild. But I think one of the things I'm sure inspires the affection from fans is that they see the hunger and the desire for more from you guys, and the fans are like, we're up for the ride. We want to see what it is that you guys make. And even in the lead up to your next album coming out, for Cave's release, Bear has said a few times, and others of you as well, that it's like, we wouldn't be making this if we didn't have something to say. Like, there's still things you guys want to share, and that's why there's still songs to write. What are some of the things that you want to be saying with Caves?
Well, this in this kind of, new era of the band, the band has historically kind of done the first track on the record as kind of like you might not like this. It's like, it's kind of a little bit of a test. Not that we want to, not that we just want to make a whole record be a test, but it's kind of like hey, this is kind of like, it's kind of starting a conversation. But it really was, that song was kind of, even though the record is not just like one kind of theme through the record, but the overarching like feeling of the record is that it's a kind of a new beginning for the band, musically too. We got new people in the band. It's going to be different. And that's just, it just is that way because of new people and new experiences. And Seth having a kid is, he's going to be a different, that greatly impacts, when the band, nobody had kids and you started the band and nobody was married, you're going to change a lot. Your songs are going to change a lot. What matters to you is going to change a lot. So the song is, sounds pretty dark, but it really is more about this. It's the dark more of like the struggle of us, kind of not like rising from the ashes, but just, we are moving into a new season, certainly for our lives, and trying to make each other better and, try to get the big picture.
And you do reflect. There's a handful of songs that have already come out, and I think they obviously reflect the sound that's going to come from the band, but they also reflect these really like big life questions. Like even in Wasting Time, which is such a bop. Like that's not even a good enough word to describe it. But with Old Dominion on that track, you have fun listening to it, but you go, this is a pretty big thing to be talking about. What are we spending our time on? I don't want to waste it. I want to be living fully in it. And then one like The Caves, where it's like or The Cave rather, and it's like this is a little dark, this is a little kind of melancholy, temporary tears. It's like the sort of spectrum of human emotion. It sounds like that's something that you guys are really wanting to address, these pillars that make us who we are.
It's just our band. If we're just singing about what we're feeling and make, all the songs are all over the place, because it's just what came out, and the collaborations, like we had people sing, people that we love sing on the record. And we just said, be, yourself on this. Just, it was no angle. It's like we connected with the Old Dominion guys. We were playing at a Greg Allman tribute show in New York City in the Beacon Theater. And, we played a few songs. Old Dominion played a few songs. We were backstage and we were like, man, we were having fun hanging out. We were like, man, we should do a song together sometime. This song, Wasting Time, was one of the first songs written on the record, but it wasn't necessarily written for the record. It was, Josh and Bear, another friend of ours, were just basically just writing it for fun. And then they, I heard it, Seth heard it. We were like, I think this could be a Need to Breathe song. And they're like, really? And we're like, why not? And so we recorded it, and we were just like, you know what? This would be really fun if they'd be up for it. Ask Old Dominion to sing on this. I think that would be, there's some kind of camaraderie, even though our bands sound different. There's still kind of there's a similar feeling. And we hung out with them. We were like, yeah. So we reached out to them, and when we were in New York, like, a couple of guys were like, we love your band. And we're like, what? How? Well, really? Like, and they're like, yeah. And we're like, well, maybe we could get you on a song. And they're like, hey, yeah. So we sent them the song, and they said, we would probably just have done it no matter what. And then they said they like listened to the first 30 seconds. They were like, we're in.
Yeah. And
also it's like, when somebody says play on the song and just be yourself, do your thing, there's not a lot of pressure. You're not gonna have to come into this thing and all of a sudden sound like a certain thing. So yeah, with Carly and Boy Vance and Old Dominion, it's just, we were like, this person would be perfect for it. Let's ask them and just have them sing it the way they would sing it.
And I think in the music industry, those kind of relationships, the passing conversations that you have with people, we'd love you to play on this, or yeah, come and, headline this, or whatever it might be. Sometimes that can just be these passing comments, pleasantries, to forge genuine relationship with people where you do get to work together, where you have these like long-standing friendships. How do you think you build that, whether it's in the music industry or sort of other spaces people may work in? That sort of genuineness within a very fickle industry at times.
Yeah, and you can find fickleness everywhere. I do certainly think at our age of having friends and losing friends and seeing what it is like to be a friend, you kind of cut to the chase. I've got a friend who plays in a band, and when I met him, it was like, he's another guitar player, and we hung out, got dinner together, and I said, listen, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I was like, I just want to be friends. I really want to be friends. I like you. Like, let's just, it's felt like, when you're like 9, you're on the playground. You just meet a kid and you're like, let's be best friends. Like, why not? And so And it's always, it's always fulfilling to just connect with people and not play games, and that which works perfectly with where our band is at right now, which is, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, we've all been married for a long time, all have kids, but still, the songs are going to obviously not be kid songs. They're not going to be safe for the whole family songs, but we are still having a childlike approach to everything. And hopefully, you can have a child, like you, and dream like that and still sing songs that are like going, like, most of us are, not just in the band, but most of us in the world are going through some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And we want to sing songs about our lives and where we're at, and still have a childlike wonder about it, and can still have a really fun time doing it.
Yeah. I don't think people would be okay with songs that are sugarcoating things or like not kind of getting to the heart of stuff right now. Like, if it's even saying to someone in my family the other day, like, it feels like we're in a time around the world where stuff just doesn't let up. Like, you don't really get a chance to not have to have something really deep to think about, something that's going to question your like philosophical ideas, your moral ideas, all of these sorts of things. It's like there's so much going on in the world. You have to find a way to engage with it, and it can be fun and it can be childlike, but I don't think people will accept superficiality, I think is what I'm, trying to drive at. Like, it's good that you as a band recognize that.
Yeah, everybody in this band, that's definitely a core thing. This band, we are not. If somebody could hear a song and think it's superficial or whatever, but it is not. Like, our conversations with each other, I mean, we want people to like the songs, but we're not going to just write a bunch of shallow songs or songs that are just to be kind of like, I mean, yeah, some of the songs are just fun and they're not like saying something super big and deep. I mean, they're just fun songs. But yeah, we've got like no desire to, I think we would hang it up if it was like, we don't have any desire to just make superficial songs. Like, yeah, it's not in this band's DNA.
No, it wouldn't sustain you.
You gotta be like honest, as best as we can be in that season. Otherwise, I don't think any of us want to do it.
No, and you guys really took away some focus time to write this album in the beautiful mountains, snow. So I'm guessing it was a little bit cold at times. How important is it to write in solitude? Solitude, but community. But how important is that for you guys to get away to do it?
We love getting out of the, maybe the classic studio. Obviously, there's certain stuff that we'll have to do in a studio. We'll do strings, and the record will get mixed there. But for us, all of us live in different cities, and it's really awesome, even just as us setting goals and connecting as a band, getting the vision together of what we're doing. It's kind of like a retreat. Like, even if we didn't write a song or record a song, it would be very valuable for us to all get on the same page. But it is nice to get in like a safe, neutral environment somewhere, and we just work all day. We do what we can do to get, we try to get as much done. Sometimes we'll have days where just nothing really comes together. And I mean, what is it? I can't remember the New Zealand writer, director.
Oh, Taika Waititi.
He said sometimes he goes to write and he opens up his laptop and he sits there and he waits for something to happen and nothing comes, and he shuts his laptop, and that's still writing. So we try to put that time in, and there's all sorts of ways that it has value, but it really is good for us to get to a neutral place and see what happens. When we were in Utah, we thought we're just gonna demo a lot of this. I mean, a lot of it was like, we'll just come up with a part, we'll move on, and we'll work on the next song. And and we'll see what we have, and maybe we'll come up with a better part and we'll play that again. And there was a lot of stuff where we'd be like, man, like that's really cool. Like, let's just keep it. Like, I mean, why not? So yeah, to work like that, and then at the end of the day, make dinner together and watch a movie and just do it over, and it's just really fun.
Yeah, of course. It's you guys all doing like sleepovers again.
But it does kind of feel like that, like, and we can also put in a lot of time. If I was showing up at 10 in the morning at a studio and leaving at 6 to go home to my family, we're waking up, having breakfast together, talking about stuff like, where should the song go? We should, we could do this, talking about our lives with each other, recording some, cooking lunch together, having conversations. So yeah. And, bands are rare. Like bands are rare. I mean, I get it, because obviously too, when you have more people talking to things, it gets more complicated. But everybody here has kind of gotten, is given a space to contribute.
Yeah.
Because we know at the end of the day, I mean, like Bear, incredible writer, incredible singer. He can, he could go make a Need to Breathe record by himself and it would probably sound a lot like Need to Breathe, but it wouldn't. Like, we all know that what we all bring in all of our strengths and even some of our weaknesses and some of the stuff that we're not that good at, it works it really is a band. And so, and I think a lot of times when bands are younger, they sound really united because they're kind of just living together, spending all their time together. Then you get married. Now you're not with each other as much. I mean, that's a good thing, and then your life gets more complicated like this, and you're not as connected. So we can us getting that time together like that is kind of just get,
it resets things a little bit.
Resets things and actually makes it more like a younger band, because we're spending time just kind of woodshedding it somewhere and totally being delusional about the odds. And every song we're like, this might, not like from a success, like not from the idea of like a money thing, but this song might connect more than any song we've ever done. And maybe it doesn't, but it's still fun to kind of just be dumb and dreaming, and maybe be better at the execution or better at streamlining that process. I think we've all gotten better at being like, we can leave this at home. We can leave this thing at home. I don't need to be insecure like this. Let's just bring that kind of wonder and just be open to, we don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because it's as different as all of us are. And that's really exciting. That's really fun.
You spur each other on. And as much as I'm sure Bear or any of you could, write a Need to Breathe album, like there is still a distinction. You can see the sum of all your parts coming together, because even with his project as Wilder Woods, that's brilliant and distinct in its own way, but it's not Need to Breathe. Like you can see that there is a line between the two, and it's beautiful. And even as this album, your new one, Caves, is about to come out, world tour is happening for this as well. Does the world tour include Australia? I have to know that, because there's going to be those fans of us who, we want you to come.
I sure hope so. Right now we're talking about those shows and trying to figure out what we can book. And, I've toured in Australia a bunch, and it's very far away, and it is very expensive to try to find a way to get there and do our show that we want to do, but I mean, I'm just dying to get back to Australia, and the fans, yeah, just like it's definitely has a very different or unique to itself. Playing shows I don't know what is different, you know what I mean? But it's like some of the best shows I've ever played, and some of the most incredible crowds have been in Australia. And I would love to be we would love to play there, because I think it would be a match made in heaven, actually. Because, yeah, I think we would get each other. You know, yeah.
And there was one time many years ago now that Need to Breathe came out and everybody was like, we just need you to come back. So if you don't come to us, there's going to be fans that come to you. But for those fans that pick up the new album, what do you want them to really take away from it? We've said so many things about it. It's a brilliant project, but what do you want fans to take away?
Oh, wow. That's, no pressure, right? that we're thankful. We're thankful for the people that are listening to it. I think we want people to take, the people that listen to the songs are the last part of the writing process, and we can write songs about certain things, but it's going to mean something different to you regardless of, I could tell you why we wrote a song and you'd be like, yeah, that's not what it means, because this is what it means to me. And that's a beautiful, amazing thing too, that like lets us let go and go, well, I mean, the finished product is all decided, is as unique as the listener. And so I'd say, we want you to take these songs and make them your own. And we're honored to be part of that soundtrack.
Tyler has got to be one of the most easygoing, free-spirited, creative people we have had on the podcast, and what a privilege. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. You can see it up on the Hope 1032 YouTube channel. Check out Need to Breathe's latest album, Caves. It is out now. And until next time, enjoy living this undistracted life.
This is a Hope 1032 production. Thanks for listening.